Okay, let's see if that one works where I've just been talking to myself quietly for no reason for it. Let us know in the chat though if it's working there. I believe it is though now. So yeah, just want to say thank you all very much for joining me. It's been so long since we last did a stream, since we last hung out. So I think the thing that I wanted to do is I've now finally been able to upgrade my PC, which is great. So I've been finally able to come through and, you know, actually for us to be able to talk, chat, and just talk more about level design. For those of you who may be new to this, this is my channel called Level Design Lobby, primarily that of a podcast. I'm a senior level designer over at CD Projekt Red. I've worked on such games as Cyberpunk, The Division, Division Underground, plenty of mobile games, and much, much more. So, Gadskull, hey, thank you for joining me, my friend. So yeah, I've been looking at trying to do this a bit more so we can talk about it, and today's gonna be a little bit different. Today's just me blocking out with all of you. We're gonna be switching over to UT, showing you something I'm working on. Now, just keep in mind, what I'm working on now is not kind of, how do I say, let me just turn down the music a bit, is not going to be that of like the proper level design process that I recommend to you. It's going to be a little bit different. It's solely going to be focusing on just me blocking something out. I want to just play around with architecture a bit more and just seeing what we can do with that moving forward. So if you have any questions about level design, anything I can do to help all of you, man, just drop us a message and I'll answer as best that I can. So let's go on to the actual task at hand. Look at this, a new angle, the production value that I bring to you all here. There you go, something new. And also just let us know what you think about the new layouts and that. It's obviously been a while, but I've been messing around trying to come up with better ways to keep it visually engaging for you in terms of making a layout for this. Now, I don't know if we're going to change it, obviously, as time goes on. Depends how much that we're streaming and everything. But yeah, this is kind of what we're going with for it. I can see now that my mic, again, wasn't working when I was switching scenes. You think you've got it all figured out and then it just bites you in the ass. They said this here is going to be my new layout. You see I've been messing around with a few things. If there's things that you actually want to change or just think, hey, this could be better, just give me a shout. We'll go through just trying to make it overall interesting. Now with all the introductions, the farewells, the hellos done, let's kind of go through what I'm actually going to be working on today. So the first thing is I really like this bit of architecture here. Now, as I said, this is not the actual best process in order to make a level. I just want to talk, haven't streamed in a while, and thought it'd be really cool for us to actually just jump on in and do something a little bit different. So let's kind of go through this space a bit. Okay, how do I get out of this one? So this is something that I saw here. If you don't know Arch Daily, check it out. Honestly, it has some of the better quality in terms of references that I recommend everyone to use for all of that. I saw this architecture, this building here, and I thought it was really cool. It's a very different design. One of the things I've been doing recently is just been blocking out or 2D mapping that of these different spaces. The reason being is there's so many different types of architecture, and I just want to try to get better at learning how to best replicate all these different styles, right? So the one of the things that I love about Arch Daily is the fact that they give Turtle Lodge, or Turtle Dog, hello my friend, thank you very much for joining. So one of the things I wanted to do was obviously look at these different styles here, see what we can do with them in order for me to make more believable and more interesting spaces. So Turtle Dog asks, what is this site? That is archdaily.com. You can find this, I think I've got it like right up here, yeah, archdaily.com, mate. One of the things that I really like about this website is when we go through some of the spaces here, it shows you the actual floor plans as well. One of the things that's great about the floor plans and having them here, no worries, mate, is the fact that people think that they need to always come up with something new. You don't have to. One of the things that you can do really well with this is you can take existing 2D floor plans and open them up. I don't have let me do snipping tool. So if we, for example, want to have more combat in here, one of the things that we can do is with this door here, say we want it to have more of a loop, we add a door. We can add a door there, so that way we have a loop and better fit of the actual styles that we want. But not only this, it actually helps us to understand, well, what rooms are used in these spaces. Bathroom, kitchen, shower, I believe. I'm taking a guess at that one. Stairs, living area, so that when we're trying to create or replicate this in our blockouts themselves, well, that's a lot easier, right? Because we're able to instantly be like, boom, we know what's needed to help make this space feel believable and realistic. So with that being said, I'm going to go through and just block stuff out. Now I'm going to imagine it more for third person cover, just so you're aware of it. There's going to be some sort of like, how do I say, combat that I imagine here, these kind of things. Now, again, this isn't the best way to go about actually making your levels. You should spend more time reference gathering, understanding the gameplay, all of that. As I said, for me, my purpose is just to learn a bit more about that of the architecture itself. As I said, you got any questions, just shoot them across, team, and we'll go through it. So this is what I've got so far. You can see how it matched that of what we previously had. XCube Studios. Hey Max, I didn't know you were doing this. Well, hey Dan. Yes, no, I've decided to give it a bit more of a shot, mate. And I'm coming in here with, I don't know how often I'll do this. I'm not sure what's the best way to do it. I'm still learning it. As you see, we've got different layouts here, but I might change it. Let me know what you all think about it and go through it. So we can see here, we've got some of the actual similar architecture with what we wanted on this space here. So now, let me have a look to see how it looks from the side. Okay. So basically, we need these coming through. One thing that I always recommend to anyone who's doing more of this is make sure you organize. If you do know something, let me know about this, because like Unity doesn't have the best organization to it. Like you see it more like folders and layers. But what I've done here is just create empty game objects and just put on all stuff that's related to each section, these sort of things. So if you know anything that actually might be helpful for organization, just let me know, guys. I'll be happy to hear and learn. Kamala asks, hey Max, with the arches, is it something you mocked up in something like Maya, or is this an asset pack? Great question, mate. So what I use that for Unity especially. Now I have different tools for different engines, but Unity, there is a great program of asset pack that's free by my friends over at Radical Forge called Blockout. You get so much. Let me see if so. Here it is. I don't know if you can see it that well on the stream itself, but let's just go to prefabs floor. You get all of these different ones here, different styles of floor. So I recommend this. It's free. The fact that it's more like a Lego kit piece, so we can put it all together to best work this, I think is the most important thing. So that's what I use. Hope it helps. There are other ones for Unreal. We can recommend those ones for you. Now, Derv Maps asks, are you using pre-made blockout tools, or do you feel it limits more nuanced design capabilities? I personally like to use pre-made blockout tools. The reason being, and there is no right or wrong answer, I just want to really stress that. If you use Maya, nothing wrong with that. Use that, use what helps make the best elements that you can do. Now, I personally like to use these just because it's easier to quickly smash it all together than, say, build it on, say, Maya or something, is my opinion. And it just helps me, again, just keep in contact with metrics as well. This is really important when dealing with spacing. It allows me to better understand that. So again, it helps the spacing come through. So yeah, hope that one helps there. Edmar asks, hey, how are you doing? I'm well, thank you very much. How are you doing, mate? What do you think about solo game developers? I really like level design is my passion, but I like game design too, game programming. I don't know what I do. I guess what to do in terms of your choice, right? So for me, there's nothing wrong with learning more and more different disciplines. I know a little bit of coding, whether that be C Sharp, JavaScript. I don't think anyone uses JavaScript anymore. I haven't used that one in years. But that really helped me, understand different elements and make better levels. So to me, champ, I honestly wouldn't worry. I see where I've gone wrong with this. I wouldn't necessarily worry in terms of, worrying about like if you have to choose. Now, the thing is if you want to do AAA studio, you're probably going to have to choose. Just sadly the way it goes. But design is always, fun to learn and mess around with. So as long as you're creating and having fun and showing your expertise with that, there's nothing wrong with it. We've seen some incredible solo devs. Like I think again, just actually need to chase up on this one. But a solo dev who was originally an animator when he was working, I think it was either in films or games. He's just released a game called Omno, which really looks incredible. I think I'll pull up a quick trailer to help with this. But that was all done by a solo dev. Let's just bring it up here. I'm just going to do trailer. And this was all done by a solo dev here. So there's nothing wrong with it. Learn as much as you can. I've been recently learning a bit of Blender. By no means am I a master of it, but just learning some basics. So yeah, do whatever makes you happy for that things. But if you want to go into AAA, you're probably going to have to specialize in that of a certain discipline. And that's okay, but always be learning. Always be learning. I hope that helps with that one there, buddy. Next question. Just made something drop there, I apologize. This is the light, Bo Berman style, if anyone's seen that inside. Really good. Okay, yep. So we've now got some other questions here. So Kamal asks, brilliant. Oh, sorry, she's responding to what we were just talking about. Brilliant, thanks for letting me know for the assets. Sorry about the name, I made this account as a kid. Nah, you got nothing to apologise for, trust me. We've all made those accounts, so it's all good, mate. So, okay, so what I'm looking at here now is we can see there's 3 beams across here and 1 here. So, and there's something under it almost creating some shade. So that's what I'm going to be looking at to try replicate this here. Okay. Let's do you know what's the worst is like when you use so many different tools and you're trying to remember which hotkey does what. That's always the worst one. Oh man. So Bashal asks, could you tell me about the pipeline for level design in a AAA studio? Final Gum, hello my friend. Thank you for joining. Yeah, sure. Let's just go through this. Now each AAA studio is very different, let me just tell you that. There is, different ways to work in different places, each with their own pros and cons. I really want to stress that out to everyone, that not so much that there isn't so much thing called like perfect design, but things change, things go through, they adapt so much, so it's not always going to be the perfect plan that I think people think it's going to be. So it's just something to keep in mind. And no worries, Edmar. Thank you very much for asking questions. Any more, please send them my way. So yeah, just keep that in mind there, people. So in terms of the pipeline, now, like I said, each studio is different, but from my experience that I have had, it normally tends to go such as, wait, if I just realized, it's not the level team, it's not at the right level. You hate to see it, rookie mistake. So basically you'll start by getting a brief. Now level designers have different roles again at different studios. Some level designers are also your mission designers. Some just actually make the levels, and you have roles such as quest and mission designers. It depends on the studio. So you'll get a brief from most likely narrative design or that of your directors as well, in which case they will be talking about what it is that you need to create for this mission. So you get just a little outline at first. What you'll do from there is then you'll read this, write down all the notes that you want to have for questions that you may ask, maybe things you think could be improved upon, suggestions for where you actually want this certain event to take place. Because sometimes, they don't give you where the location is going to be, whether that be in an open world or actually what the location is, if it's a warehouse, if it's a hospital, elements like that, right? So you'll do that and start chatting. Well, you'll have a kickoff, where you'll get everyone who's working on that area, mission, level together, and everyone will start bringing up their points, talking about what they like, what they dislike, what they think can be improved, answering any questions that there may already be, right? So that's roughly how it'll go down from there. And yes, I'm trying to think where I can put this, all the links actually, team. Let me see if I can put that in description for us for the store. Sorry, Tildog asking me where we can get the store links. So let me get them for you. So yeah, once you'll have this, and when I say this, I mean you've had your first kickoff meeting. That's when you'll be able to start going into your pre-production. This is where you'll do all your research gathering, your level design documents, all of these, and then when everyone comes together, once you've got your level design document, your pitch document, if you will, this is when you'll pitch it to the team, make sure everyone sees how it goes, look at the pacing, look at the location, the references you're after, these kind of elements. After you've got all that information, you'll either get the yay or nay. You'll then move on to your kind of 2D maps or your early blockout. This depends on the level designer, which they believe is the way that they like to work, right? There isn't anything wrong with that. Okay, just give me a second here. Sorry, everyone, I need to make sure I grab everything here. When I said you think you're prepared, you're not, guys. You're really not. Okay. There we go. Okay, do check the description wherever that you are actually watching this, whether that be LinkedIn or that of YouTube. I was trying to stream on Twitch, but sorry, not Twitch, Twitter. It didn't work. So check there. That should have all links to my books, the store, and the Patreon. If you want to go support the show, we'll do a little ad in a little bit. Turn up my mic's volume. Sorry, mate. Yes, of course I can. Hope that helps there. Let me know if that needs to be turned down or anything like that, buddy. Thank you very much for the feedback. So yeah, after you've done your 2D maps, this will go by your lead. Your lead will either say yay or nay. You'll get some feedback, iterate from there, and that's when you'll start to do the very early blockout. Now, there's generally different stages for blockout. Like some places, again, have different names. There might be something called L0, L1, and L2. L0 is basically where you have just the space that the player can run around in. Do I have... Let me just see if I've got some stuff here for us to use. Yep, let's just put our character in here, team. Yeah, so imagine this would be L0 here. So we would just have the space just for the player to be able to run around, make sure it fits size-wise. Is this too big? Is this too small? We can kind of get a sense for that. Like here right now, this might be third person, so maybe it's a little bit okay. But like for first person, this roof might be either a little bit too high, we could probably bring down a bit, right? L1 is when you start to have that of like a beginning kind of gameplay pass. So anything that you want in terms of this here, you'll be actually able to go through and play it, whether that be moving doors, lifts, say some sort of like explosive barrels. Maybe you just have basic enemies walking around. They don't do much, but they're walking around, right? You have that. L2 is what you call like kind of polish. This is when art will now be in, replacing your blockout, and you'll actually be able to go off and use that in terms of the level itself, and everything works. It's clear, and again, all of that time you're iterating, and that's roughly the level design process. I know it took a while, but creating levels obviously takes a lot of time, my friends. So yeah, Yes, although the second book is out there for people who don't know, I've released 2 books now. The first one is called Let's Design Combat, where I focus on any tips. Let's actually just switch it around for this. Okay, testing. Yep. So I've done 2 books. Let me just actually go get them to show you. Okay. So the first book here is Let's Design Combat, which is I focus on different tips in how to create levels in a more kind of like combat orientated way. We have diagrams on this side, that have that of the actual like level layouts to help you make clear understanding of the points. It's all in bite-sized tips and able to again be used for anything related with combat. The next one, and the most recent one, which came out this year, is called Let's Design Exploration. As we know, there's a lot of traversal in many of the actual levels that we do. So again, the same thing. We're looking at bite-sized way that allow people to go off and understand the metrics here. So all of them are here basically in physical or that of digital books as well. If you go into the description, no matter where you are, you'll be able to go see and pick yourself up a copy. Honestly, I'm really proud of this. There's 2 of them right now. We're going to be aiming to do a 3rd one. I think next year is the plan. So I'm really excited for this. I hope you are all too. Honestly, it's been really fun to do level design books and check that, I guess, off my bucket list. I didn't think I'd be doing that, which is great to see. Howdy, mate. And thank you very much. Sorry, your name just came up with like loads of forward slashes, but thank you. So we now have Michelle saying, actually, I'm new into level design. I'm learning now only. Could you give me some tips? I think the first one that I'd give to everyone is make sure you spend the time on that of your pre-production. Gather references. Do your research correctly, because these are really important. Because if you have a solid base like that, it makes your levels a lot easier to go through and design. The next thing is making sure that you switch it over. Make sure is that you understand your metrics. When I'm talking about metrics here, we talk about that of these kind of square spaces, right? The reason we talk about that is because we need to understand how wide elements should be. How many meters, because these squares are in meters, can the player move in X seconds? How high can they jump? How far can they shoot, etc. All of these is vital information in referring to us and how we actually create spaces like this, seeing if they're too big or too small. So understanding metrics is a really important thing. So that's really where I'd say is the beginning basic tips. I think there's going to be some ones to learn from after that, but those are the really, basics to really understand the fundamentals of reference gathering, because we are basically virtual architects. So having something to study, to research like these is super important to us. Let's never underestimate that. I think also that of, I said metrics is also very, very crucial for that. There's obviously other elements there, but I think those are some really important tips that often get skipped because they're not the sexy part, unlike blocking it out. So really use that there. So yeah. Now, before we continue, I'm going to have a quick word from today's sponsor.
At Level Design Lobby, we believe everybody has a story to tell. Hobbyist or student, freelancer or veteran, we made it our mission to unite those who share our passion for creating and developing great games. Thanks to our generous Patreon backers, we've been able to do just that. So if you've already pledged your support, thank you. If not, you too can ensure the future of Level Design Lobby, helping us to create even more exciting content, collaborations, interviews, and much more. With awesome perks and rewards, whether you're a seasoned professional or just getting started, you're sure to find something for you. Want to share tips, tricks, and advice with passionate, like-minded developers? Our awesome community Discord has you covered. Fancy practicing your level design, creating strong portfolio content, and having fun? Then try our level design weekends. Or perhaps you want to individually discuss your work, hone your skills, or level up your career? Then consider our one-on-one mentorships. If you share our vision, then go to patreon.com/Level Design Lobby for more information and to pledge your support. Thank you.
So there we go, a little sponsor there for you. If you do want to learn more, I actually think I have 1 or 2 mentorship spots open right now. So if you want to go check them out, head over to patreon.com and then you'll be able to go pick that up and we can work together in order to increase and better your level design. I'm also running the CGMA course on level design, which I'll also be running over for another term now. I'm only supposed to be doing this 1 term, but it's now expanded to 2, which is great. So if you want to do that, some great resources to help you improve and learn about level design. So now we've got another question from Anders9009. What is your thoughts on invisible walls and other player barriers? So invisible walls, hate them. Just straight up hate them. Because they don't make sense. Let's just be honest. You know, like that to me is something that's a little bit I see I've actually done something wrong here with my build here, guys. Okay, I've seen where I've gone asunder. Anyway, yeah, so I'm not a huge fan of them. Just because the fact that, you know, if they're invisible, then it breaks the immersion right off the bat, right? If you want a barrier, just have a barrier. There's nothing wrong with that at all. But like, you need to make sure that it's clear to the player they can't go through them. Like, visual language is really good, should be really important in order to highlight these points. So think about that. Don't just have knee-high bushes. If we were the player here, and my barrier is... Where are you? If I'm walking up here and I'm pointing out and I'm like, okay, well, I'll just jump it. Why is it embarrassing me now? And then we can't jump it. Well, that's just silly. We need to make it very clear to the player that there are boundaries. So it's on us to do that. We can't just put invisible barriers anymore. I think we've surpassed that. And I don't know many games that do that still. I'm happy to be proven wrong, but you know, I know everyone's trying really hard to make sure it's very clear what the boundaries are. So yes, I'm not against boundaries. Obviously we need boundaries, it's very crucial, but invisible boundaries we can always improve upon. As I said, we need to communicate to the player, hey, this here is the end or edge of our level. And yeah, that's on us. At the end of the day, that is just on us. So yeah, I think that's kind of my thoughts on it there. So yeah. Hope that answers your questions, buddy. So I tell you what I'm going to do, team, because it doesn't look like there's supposed to be anything here, but what I will like to do, let's see how many, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 2, 3. I want to add 2, 3. Oh man, really? Let's just push everything across me. I'm going to add this because I like the shadows that it adds. Each kind of roof can add a little bit of a different feeling, shall we say. Like this here feeling like it's overall over us, but then here we have a different feeling and a vibe because we have these kind of like billboards, what am I even saying? These kind of, I'm forgetting the actual term for them, like support beams running across. So I'm going to go with that. Just create an overall different vibe. And you can do that with roofs a lot of the time. I don't think people realize, myself included at times. So know that you're able to go through and do that. So yeah, that's fine. That is fine there, team. We're going to go with that. So let's have a look. What's next and how this place looks. So it looks like that we have something along here, and then we have some stairs going up. So if we just run this across here to break that up there. Okay. For it. Do we have any other questions, everyone? Please keep them coming. This is how we have great dialogue, and I feel like I'm able to help make things better if I'm able to chat with you all. So, stairs and slopes. That's right on the door, but for metric wise, we're not going to follow that to the T. What I am going to do is make the stairs 3 meters wide. How tall are these stairs? 6. Okay. Do you know what? I want to bring this roof down a smidge. I feel it's way too tall at the minute. So let's just bring all of this down for it. What game's everyone else playing then? I tell you which game that I've got that I really want to play is that Omno. It's supposed to be similar to Undertale. I guess that's the closest comparison towards it. But it's supposed to be really good, and I'm really looking forward to trying that out. Yeah, let's just move that down a meter. Feels a little bit better for that there. Okay. Michelle asks, how does level designer work with environment artists and concept artists in the studio? Very well, because we all need one another, despite what some may think for it. But yeah, we all need one another. So what we try and do is, as I talked about with the pipeline, you really want to make sure that you're communicating and kind of respecting one another. Like, what might happen is, say we get told, okay, we're going to be working in that of a casino, right? Just use that as an example. Okay, we're working in a casino. So what we need to do then is make sure that, how do I say, that we've all agree upon the references. So I'll go off, gather my references. Environment art should also be able to go through and gather their references, and we come together and decide, well, what actually is it that we're after? Once we have that sorted, concept art will give us kind of the overall shell, making sure they capture the mood and feel. Maybe they'll give us some really cool architecture, which I think is, important for us because it helps us think a little bit differently. Like, you see a big problem with new LDs, junior, is they make very boxy stuff, which, some places, like if you look at very brutalistic Soviet old school buildings, they are just boxes, right? But there's definitely new things. It obviously depends where your game's based, etc. But from here we can kind of go through and use their references. Then we'll block it out. They'll obviously, as I said, turn it over into an environment. The most important thing with that, though, is that we need to make sure it's clear what's kind of crucial. Okay, that's just dead space there. What's crucial to gameplay, right? So say here, right? Say we want combat in here. So I need to make sure, hey, we need some combat here. So just try not to make the space any smaller, right? So from here we can go through and talk about that. They obviously do an incredible job of making everything pretty. As I said, concept art do a great job with helping us get the first look and vision and feel of it, which is really important for us. So yeah, that's kind of how we work together, really. But there's still, there's going to be more to it than that in terms of when you're actually working with someone. But communication's always super important, and it's always something that you should be working on, looking for. So hope that answers the question, Bishal. Derv Maps goes, nothing feels better than getting a draw over on one of your levels from our... Oh, dude, yeah. When you're finally starting to see it. But I think that's also one thing, kind of like why I'm doing this challenge, right? When we look at, I mean, I still don't even know what this is. I think it's a little small apartment. But when we're looking at this here, we need to think, well, how can we improve our blockouts so they look more interesting, that they offer more of a visual, I like that, I really like that, a visual feel to them than just the grey box, right? Because obviously, especially in terms of when you look at portfolios, ArtStation is incredible, but that really shows the final finished product. What we really want to see is your blockout and how are you able to turn that into something that becomes the final beautiful stage, right? So think of it things like that, right? But again, we need to make sure that we're constantly getting better at these elements as well to sell it. Maybe I wouldn't have even put, a few years ago, I may have not even put this style of shaped roof here. I just would have done a box one, and I wouldn't have put the structural beams across, when really I should. We should go the extra mile to put in little details. Again, depends on your time limit, but just to help, again, sell the style of architecture we want, and really just help give a better kind of view for it. Now I am going to get some stairs here. Okay, that's definitely not a meter. That is though. So yeah, like that's why I think it's important for us to study architecture. There is some great books out there on architecture. I tweeted some out not long ago, so if you want to check them out, they should be on my Twitter. And they're great for us, because as I said, we're the virtual architects. So we need to have a better understanding of it and make sure that we have a clearer vision, which is why I said earlier, Bashal, like reference gathering is so important, because of the fact that we want to make sure it's just not a box. Oh, okay, here it is, environment art. You figure out what my abstract boxes mean. We want to be like, hey, this is what it means. This is what I'm after, and this is why. And you can really help communicate that across to your team, right? So again, communication is super important. For that. Okay. But yeah, so I hope that helps. No, I can't, Bashal, mate. Like, due to legal reasons, I can't share any of them right now. You can check out, let me put it in the link as well. Let me get it for us. If you go on the Level Design Lobby YouTube channel here, Vishal, and you find my Spider-Man level, you can actually see one of like a basic one I did for my Spider-Man level. This is not the ideal one. This is kind of a shorter version. One, because it was an open world event, and two, personal project. I did what I needed from it. But you can see here, talking about level design, to brief, understanding what is I'm after in order from it. And then you can see this is my references and research. How do they place enemies? Environment hazards. They've got multiple levels for the player to zip across and everything. This is my brief for it. What is it that I'm after while creating that? Then we talk about my objective flow. What is it that we're going for with this? This is like the big high level picture for this one. Now there are beats as well, which kind of go into the more granular detail of those objectives, so we know a bit more. And then this is kind of the pacing graph for how I imagine this will go for pacing wise. And then from here you can see that I do my references and research. This here is the Hearst building, which it's based off, which you'll see me go through. Here you can see all the different references that I've gathered, how I've separated it. These were like some of the other references that I had ages ago before I filtered it down. So this here has like kind of the information that you're looking for here, mate, but I can't really go and show too much from that just due to legal reasons, obviously, there. So, but I hope that one does help you, my friend. For it. Okay. Gadskull goes, if I'm a beginner, I have to use references to learn level design. I mean, regardless if you're not a beginner, Gadskull, you should always be using references to help guide you, because it really helps make your places feel believable. Also shows you some cool like architecture that we might not have found otherwise. I mean, this is just me gathering this, making it from references and research here. So yes, make sure that you are using it. It's really important to do that. I did mention about this earlier, mate, but don't worry about the question. We can answer it again. So yeah, making sure that you gather as much references and research is really crucial for this. So yeah. Dash goes, everyone uses refs no matter what level experience you have, I think. Yeah, and that's true. You should always be, because there's always something new you can learn. Different games, different cities, different architecture styles, man. Like, there's always something that we can go through and improve upon. Okay, let's push this out further. Yeah, never start without any references, because you're only going to do yourself more damage, because we need to, how do I say, always need to be figuring elements out and see how it all plays out. So yeah, remember to always grab the references. Super duper duper important, my friends. So I'll just talk about kind of why I've just expanded this area out. So the first thing is, if I talk about combat here, I've added a loop that we have for this. So a combat loop, so players can come down the stairs and come back up as well, right? One of the big important things is when you're having stuff that of level design, you don't want to just be doing that of having any dead ends when it comes to that. Let's just switch over for a second here. This is where we find out that there. So let me just grab this from the book. Okay, let's try to show this. So this here is a diagram for level loops. Level loops are really important because, again, you're trying to make sure that the player and enemies always have a way around. It keeps the flow feeling a lot better than running into dead ends and just walls, right? So it's really important to have those level loops, which is why you'll see that I just added in those stairs over there, just because that's really important for us to be able to use that and instead create that of a loop for the player. Now, I also made this bigger, this side here, just because I noticed, okay, if these stairs are eating 2 meters up of my layout, and then I have this as 5, so there's only 3 meters left, it doesn't give us much options to use for cover. So I extended it just by 2 meters, nothing much, but when we come to prop and cover place in these elements, you'll see that it gets much smaller than what it currently is. So that's why we extended those areas. Okay. See how popular I am from this. Sorry everyone, let me just answer these questions. Hold on. Sorry about this. It was extremely rude of me. Okay. Well, I'm going to put an end to the stream, everyone. We've been going for that of a while, and I really just want to say thank you all very much for sticking with me. It's been great to be able to chat with each and every one of you. We've got some really good stuff that we did here. I hope that answered some of your questions. So again, just thank you. I'm going to wrap this up. If you do ever want to reach out to me, you can obviously do so on Twitter. If you do want to go through of that and email in, leveldesignlobby@gmail.com is the email address. You can obviously go pick up the book. We also have that of the mentorship on the Patreon. If you want to support this show, make sure it only gets better and better. And yeah, thank you all very, very much. Really appreciate every one of you. And we will speak very soon, everyone. Take care and thank you.